Hey guys! I never thought I was gonna make this video because I'm terrified of confrontation. I'm fucking horrified by it. I don't like to think about confrontation. I don't like to think about when people have confronted me. I don't like to think about anything like that ever, so I just don't. But I was laying in bed and I was like, you know what? Too many people have confronted you about your story times and you don't talk about it because you're a pussy ass bitch, Jessie. Get up and film the video. So basically that's what I'm doing today. These aren't like groundbreaking stories where someone came up to me and said, what the fuck, Jessie? And I was like, what the fuck, man? You wanna fight? Nothing like that happened because that's not real life, or at least that's not my life. But shit has happened with people that I've made story times about or that I've said things about on Twitter, you know, when I was like really drunk back in the day. Some of those people have come back and either texted me or just been like really awkward or said something to me in person. So that's what this video is about. I'm gonna share this with you and you can cringe for me. So the first one I'm gonna talk about is the Prince at Disneyland. If you don't know about the Prince at Disneyland, you must, and I mean you must, watch that story time. You must. I think the title is like Awkward Online Dating Sex Story, and that's pretty much exactly what it is, but it's so much better than I could have titled it. That experience was just, it was one for the books. I never expected to hear from the Prince again because after I made that video, he never reached out. But interestingly enough, he reached out, I want to say like 3 months ago, which is like a year after I even made that video, so I was very shocked. Let me actually see if I have the text thread because honestly, when things like this happen, I just delete the text, block them, pretend they never existed. I just cringe so hard, I can't deal with it. I have anxiety issues, okay? Ooh, oh, I do. Like I said, I block everyone that I make a story time about because I don't want this to happen. But sometimes they're sneaky little snakes, okay? And they get new numbers or they text me from a different phone, motherfuckers. But that's actually not what happened in this instance. I don't know if in the process of me like switching phones, because I've switched phones like once or twice, not numbers, but like just devices. I don't know if in the process of that he got unblocked, but one day I was just sitting on my couch minding my own fucking business and I get a call from this guy from his name. For the purpose of this video, I'll just call him the Prince. So I look at my phone and I'm like, the Prince? Who do I know that's named the Prince? Mind you, it's been so long since I made that video, so I didn't even remember. And I was just like, the Prince? The Prince? Fucking Prince. Ooh, the Prince. And my whole fucking heart just sank to my fucking asshole as soon as I realized that this was the Prince calling me. Because there's only one thing he could be calling me about, okay? And it's not to have sex again. So obviously I didn't answer and I pretended that I didn't have that number saved. So I just text them and I say, hey, sorry, just saw that I missed a call from this number, new phone. I lied. Who's this? And then he says, this is blank from the Laugh Factory date. I am reaching out to you in mercy. Can you please talk to me on the phone? Reaching out to me in mercy? Shit. I kind of like that. I just answered and said, what's going on? And he said, can I call you 2 minutes max? And I said, yes. Now I do have this conversation recorded because I don't know, part of me just said I should record it, so I did. But I'm not going to post that on this video because I don't know if I could get sued. And honestly, YouTube ad revenue is going down already. I can't afford to get sued, okay? But basically, I'll save you the cringiness of even having to listen to that conversation or look at my face literally like sweating, like a tear coming out of my eye. I'll save you from that. My heart was racing so fast when I called him back. I thought I was gonna shit myself. Actually, I think I did shit myself. I don't know. So I talked to this guy and honestly, it was very weird conversation, but he wasn't mean in any way. He was actually really nice. And he was like, hey, listen, I know that you made that video about me and I just want you to know I learned a lot from that video and how I treated you and I don't want to ever treat anyone like that again. I was an asshole and I'm sorry about that. But you did say that I was the Prince at Disneyland in that video and a lot of people who worked at Disneyland found out who I was and it just turned into this big thing. He was like, I didn't care about that, but now I have a girlfriend and I don't want her to see that video. This is where shit starts getting weird. Try to keep up. I don't want to make this too confusing, but basically what he was trying to say is that people that he worked at Disneyland with were speculating that around the time that he started dating his girlfriend, I made that video. So they thought that he was still talking to me while he was talking to her, having sex with me, blah, 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 blah. But the weirdest part about all of this is that I made the video, like the story time, like 3 weeks after him and I had that awful encounter. It's not like I filmed it months later. So I told him, I was like, I mean, were you talking to her when you did that? Because I mean, I filmed it like right after it happened. All he basically told me is that he really hoped that I would take down the video. He's like, I know that this is your job and I totally get that this is like a lot to ask for, but please, I just don't want this drama. I love this girl. I can't handle this and blah, 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 blah. I have a big heart, okay? I really do. And so I was honestly gonna take it down. I told him, listen, I don't know if I'm gonna take it down permanently, but let me put it on private. Let me think about this. I totally completely understand where you're coming from. I'm a human. I understand you're a human. None of my videos are meant to like ruin anyone's life. They're just for entertainment. So the fact that it's gotten to this point with you, like I don't want that to happen. So I privated the video while I was still talking to him on the phone. And whatever, we talked for a few seconds longer and then he said, okay, well, I have to go. And I said, no problem. I'm gonna let you know like once I finish thinking about what I'm gonna do, if I'm gonna delete it permanently or whatever. And he said, well, okay, but just don't reach out to me. I'll reach out to you. And when he said that in the video that I recorded of the phone conversation, my face literally went, because I've been cheated on a few times, okay, y'all? I don't know, it just triggered something in my brain where I was like, oh, he's fucking lying to his girlfriend. I don't know exactly what he's lying to her about. I don't know if he was actually talking to her like while me and him, you know, had sex that one time, awfully, horribly, disgustingly. I mean, you guys know, you lived through it with me. I mean, you didn't actually live through it with me. It was worse on my end, but you guys had to hear about it. I don't know, it just felt like slimy to me and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna fucking private this post. At the end of the day, I didn't lie in our story time. And yeah, it was an unfortunate and very intimate time in both of our lives and I get that like exposing that is a little weird, but this isn't him reaching out like 2 weeks after I made that video. This is over a year later and I'm like, everyone who was gonna see it already saw it. My brain just told me, you know what? If he did something wrong, he deserves to pay for it. I don't know, none of my fucking business. Point is, I unprivated it and I blocked his number and I was like, no sir. I did feel kind of bad for him. Like I was just thinking about it for days and then I was like, you know what, fuck it. So other people have confronted me about story times. Like there are times that old friends or old boyfriends, whatever, have come to me like countless times saying, you just mentioned me in a video, how could you? But if I were to bring up those times, it would bring up a lot of things and would make a lot of people angry and I just, you know, I'm pregnant, I'm just trying to stay chill. I have to make sure me and my baby are healthy, okay? It's not worth the bullshit. So I'm not gonna say like all the times that I've actually been confronted for making story times because it's too many. But the other one that I am willing to talk about is about the guy that I made the Tinder date from hell video about. Now this video was a whole fucking shabacle. Shabacle? Debacle? Shabacle? Point is, the video was a mess, okay? The video itself wasn't a mess, just the whole date was a mess and then the aftermath of the video was a mess. Some of you might remember that I made a video called Tinder Date from Hell. In that video, I had put up a tweet. I had covered the actual name of the guy that I went on the Tinder date who made this tweet. I covered his name completely, you couldn't see it, but I left the actual content of the tweet. And that included a hashtag. And people, my followers, the CIA agents of the world, were able to actually search the full tweet with the hashtag and find his Twitter. So from that came this whole fucking thing where everyone was just going crazy on his page, sending death threats. Like I freaked out. I even went on YouNow, I was crying, I took down the video, I was so upset. And that was only that like 19,000 people had even seen that video because I had only had it up for like 40 minutes. But whatever, I took the video down because I was like, okay, yes. Was this a horrible date? Yes. Was this guy rude as fuck, annoying as fuck, and pretty much deserving to be the butt of my video joke? Yeah, let's be real. But he's a fucking human, okay? Yes, we had a bad date. That could have been a bad day for him. I don't know. But like I said before, I don't make videos to hurt people. For the most part, I will always change someone's name. I don't ever want someone to be found out. I don't want people tweeting that person. I don't want their lives to be made harder so that I can make a quick buck on the internet. Like, that's not how this thing works. I don't do what I do for money. I do it to entertain you guys, but if that's at the expense of hurting someone, like, I'm not gonna do that. So point is, I took this video down because it was getting way out of hand. 2 weeks later, my friend Lauren was in Los Angeles visiting me. I was telling her about all the shit that had happened with that video, and she's like, bro, honestly, just cover up the tweet or take out that clip and then just put the video back up, disable the comments, and that's it. And I thought about it and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. If I disabled the comments, people couldn't tell each other who I made the story time about. And if I took out that piece of the video where they could see who I was talking about in the video, then it was no harm done. It went back to being what I make my videos about, which is entertaining people, pretty much venting about my life and just being able to make something good out of something not so good. Whatever. So after that, I put up the video and there were no problems. Nobody was telling each other who I made the story time about because the comments were disabled. Everything was great. And I would say about 6 months have passed since I made that video, maybe even more. And now I'm in Miami. I'm in a completely different mindset because I'm pregnant, I'm married, I'm just relaxed. I don't have any more like fresh dating story times to talk about. So I don't expect to have any texts from people I've made dating story times about. One day I was sitting next to Nassim and I get a text message and then I read it and then I shit myself. It says, hello Jessica, it's blank, the guy I made the story time about. One of my friends just showed me the video you made about me. The one I thought you took down. I now understand why I was getting all those hate messages. It was very hard to watch you use our private texts and conversations permission to rip me apart that harshly. I hope life is going well and that your future encounters and videos are more positive towards others. Listen, honestly, when I read this, I didn't answer back. I didn't even bother. It's just, it really annoyed me because one thing I can't stand is a passive-aggressive text. You don't wish that my future encounters are more positive with others, okay? You don't wish that, sir. It was just like such like a backhanded way of saying like, fuck you, bitch, can't believe you did that. But honestly, at the end of the day, it's like, you were a horrible date. You knew I made videos about horrible dates. He was even joking to me about making a story time about him. He was dying to be in one of my videos. Like, what's happening here? I just didn't appreciate that like being turned around and was like, well, I hope your future encounters are more positive. Like, yeah, bitch, they will be. But anyway, those are just two of the times that I've gotten confronted by people that I've made story times about. Like I said, there's other times, like the time that I talked a lot of shit about Carter Reynolds on Twitter, because honestly, he's just an idiot. And then I saw him at Playlist, I want to say, or was it VidCon? I don't know, one of those. And a girl was sitting on his lap and they called my name to the stage because it was like a panel and the girl was like, oh, and he was like, ugh, and I was like, fuck both of you. Like shit like that happens, you know? There's people I've made story times about or people that I'm not friends with that I've mentioned in videos but not really mentioned, that like when I see at a Playlist or a VidCon, things get a little weird. I just don't care anymore. Like when this guy texted me, I just looked at Nassim and I was like, well, this is so stupid. Because there's just so much more going on in my life than who I made story times about like a year ago. Don't care anymore. Either way, fuck everybody. That's the point of this video. Fuck everybody. Don't actually fuck everybody though. I mean, unless you want to. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel because I put out videos every Tuesday and Saturday, and I will see you on Tuesday. Bye!